Paid ads are not a way to force somebody to make a decision. They're just a faster way to get in front of somebody and give them agency to make a decision. But if you actually focus on playing the long game the right way, the short game handles itself. But you're not going to find a way to hide from the thing that you won't look at. And paid ads tend to be the magnifying glass that exposes it all. Today, we're talking about the thing everybody wants to use and almost nobody actually understands, that ads, AI, and what it really means. Right now, online marketing is noisier and louder than it's ever been. We have people with views dropping. Everybody's launching some quote unquote secret ad strategy or business strategy with tools like AI and bots. And the amount of content going out every day is insane. But at the same time, the response rates are going down. DM replies are going down. Comments are going down. The cold traffic response is down. The average time it takes from somebody to be interested to purchase window just went from 60 days to 90 days in Matt's business. So if you're a coach or a consultant trying to grow, you're probably feeling that tension, right? Do I need to run ads? Is AI replacing nurturing customers and relationships? Why does it feel like I'm doing more and getting less? And that's exactly why I wanted to have my friend and have this conversation with you. Welcome to the Mind of George Show. This is where we cut through the noise and get real about what it takes to build something meaningful. No tactics, no hacks, just honest conversations about aligning who you are with what you do. And if you are new here, I'm George Bryant, and I've been in this game since 2009, 2010, in the service world, in the physical product world, and I've watched the short form only era come and go. I've watched Vine come and go. I've watched live streaming be invented. I've watched businesses build entirely on hacks and then crumble when the algorithm changed. And I've also watched the same timeless truth win over and over again. If you actually focus on playing the long game the right way, the short game handles itself. And today I'm joined by my friend and brother, Dr. Matt Shiver. And Matt's a physical therapist by trade who's been in online marketing since 2015. So he runs ads for coaches and consultants, but he's also the guy who will push you away if your margins suck or your mindset around ads is going to make you broke. He's the one in the data every day watching what's actually happening. Views are getting more scarce. The going from a lead to buying windows are getting longer. People are craving more human connection, not less. And he's building his business around that reality, using ads, using long form content and real relationships together. And so in this episode, we get into the weeds of all of this, like who should and absolutely should not run ads. Matt's brutal litmus test that if you can't get 10 clients from your network, it's probably a bad offer. Why most people, quote unquote, optimizing for cheap leads are actually setting money on fire because Facebook will happily give you exactly what you optimize for, even if that's unqualified, non-buying leads that never book a call. We talk about how the middle of funnel nurture, i.e. relationships, is the real moat for your business. We talk about YouTube, email, live events, and why just more top of funnel is killing a lot of coaching businesses and why you need to know your P&L before you touch an ad account. Matt literally turns people away because their margins mean ads will just make them broke faster. And so we get into all these different things, how to think about AI, the tools like Poppy, how to use them without banding relationships. And we get into how Matt uses AI to rip scripts and emails and hooks faster while still keeping the human energy and integrity that actually converts. And this entire conversation literally happens with me podcasting from the back of my Subaru out back in Montana, talking about ads, AI, and nurture. Doesn't matter whether I'm on a mountain, in a studio, or trying to build a new studio setup, the message is always the same. Paid ads are not a magic ATM machine. They're just a faster way to put your message in front of people. And if you don't know your numbers, if you don't have a real offer and you don't have any nurture in the middle, ads are going to expose all of it. So if you're a coach, consultant, online expert, or anybody selling products wondering, like, am I ready for ads? How do I use them without selling my soul? How do I play the long game and still pay the bills? This conversation is incredible. And so grab your notebook, maybe pull up your P&L if you have it, and get ready to rethink how you see paid media, how you see AI, and how you see your entire marketing ecosystem, because relationships will always beat algorithms, especially in the middle of your funnel. with nurture content because you cannot replace them with AI. So I'm excited, and let's dive in with Dr. Matt Shiver. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Mind of George Show. And I have to call it out if you are watching this and not listening to this. If you're listening, this isn't going to make sense. But what behind me is my backyard. Just so everybody knows, it's not a green screen, but I am testing and piloting doing a podcast outside in nature since I live in Montana, and I want to share more of Montana with all of you. So we are set up in the back of my car with my dear friend today, my brother, who I'm going to introduce in a minute. And so we got battery packs, Starlink cameras, and I'm genuinely sitting in my backyard in the sun. So this is about as natural as it's going to get. You might hear horses, you might hear cows, you might hear traffic, or you're going to see me get blinded by the sun in a minute, but I'm sitting out here getting my vitamin D as well. And so I just want to call that out in case you're wondering what you're seeing. This is me piloting a new setup because I realized that I've been in a studio for like 700 episodes. And I was like, I live in Montana. I'm just going to start driving to the top of a mountain and recording podcasts. And so I'm really incredibly excited for today's guest. We've been connected online for a hot minute, but we ended up about 18 months ago at one of my dear friends' men's retreat together and got to know each other on like a very, very deep level and just kind of bonded as men. And my friend Matt, he's kind of I don't even know how to describe. I would say savant, but like just a master of digital marketing and growing business, being an example, leading. But he also is a lot like us, where he didn't set out to do this. He started working online while he was full time at Duke, I believe, getting his doctorate in physical therapy, and then started figuring out how he could build a business online. Didn't want to be limited by buildings and seeing people in person, and then basically tried everything. No social media, no website, no strategy, and didn't see anything. So he basically started teaching himself sales funnels, paid ads, and within 90 days his revenue doubled. And now he spends his time helping with marketing and sales and fulfillment strategies that help coaches build and scale their business online. And so I'm really excited. We're going to unpack a lot because he's at the cutting edge of all the things that are changing in the industry and trying and building some new things. And so, Matt, welcome to the show, brother.
Man, thank you. I gotta say, I'm jealous that you're outside. I'm in Austin, Texas, and my computer would be overheat in like 5
Yep,
minutes.
100%,
So
100%.
like this time of year, as nice, it's sunny outside, but we can't get that much sun because it's like walking out into a sauna. But even if I like in between client calls and stuff, I'll try to like go out and send voice memos and walk, and my phone will just
Your
get
phone
like
overheats,
burning hot, and it's like
100%.
dang it, I gotta go on a walking treadmill or something. So,
Oh, dude, the same
jealous
thing
of your
happened to
setup.
me. The same thing happened to me yesterday, actually, because it was like 93, 94 for my Canadians, 33, 34. And I had my laptop in the shade, but all of a sudden I was on a call and well, speaking of overheating, I don't know what just happened, but Riverside just had a conniption and ended the recording. So we're going to pick up and maybe it's yelling at me that it's a little too nature exposed for its technology nature, but I think technology needs some more nature too. So yeah, I'm really stoked to have you, and we'll see how this goes. Like we're piloting, so you get to be like the first piloted episode out of the back of the Subaru. So we're gonna ride with this one. But one of the things we were talking about before we hit record, and what I love is kind of how on the forefront of this you are, because you coach so many coaches and help them build and scale, but also are building and scaling yours in the process. And we were joking with each other that with all the changes in AI, it's like massively overwhelming with all the options and the things that are out there. It's like a full-time job figuring it out. But you were sharing that you're building something new that is kind of like pretty cool to be able to like install ChatGPT to have like full-time conversations and like DMs. I'd love for you to like share that with everybody.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, AI is just massively, like you said, evolving, and it feels like every day I log in and there's like more YouTube videos, more blogs up about like this new tool, and I'm like, dude, how am I supposed to keep up? But one of the tools that we've been using, we've been implementing and like trying to install in our clients' businesses is it's called Closebot, and it hooks up with Go High Level, and it allows you to pull any language model that you want. So like or language model, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, or Anthropic, and it can programs it to Go High Level, so then it can do any follow up for text messages, emails, or even DMs. And a lot of the clients that we work with, like it's a huge help because one of the biggest bottlenecks that a lot of people have is like if they get a bunch of leads, the ability to have a conversation with them and direct them to the right place, whether it's like, hey, go follow me, go subscribe to my YouTube channel, or hey, let's book a call. I think you'd be a good fit. If you're running paid ads, which is a huge part of our strategy, and you're getting 20 to 100 new leads a day, it becomes really challenging to manage the follow up. And with this software, there's other softwares out there too. We just found that Closebot is probably the easiest and most user friendly. It'll automate all of that, and you can like how I trained it as I uploaded a bunch of YouTube videos, and then I asked ChatGPT to transcribe these YouTube videos, find my tone and how I talk, and then make me a simple SOP that I could then plug into the tool, and it can take it can follow up all the leads for you, and it's a huge time saver once it's like fully up and built. We're slowly moving to it. Like we still have human setters. I think human connections really important. But if you're running a lead magnet funnel where you get tons of opt-ins, of course, like a higher priority would be like, yeah, if you could talk to every single one of them, great. If you can send audio messages and connect with them, great. But when you're running paid traffic and you have so many new leads coming every day, it becomes really hard to do that. So,
Mm.
yeah, a really cool tool we've been
Yeah, brother, that tool and that thought sounds incredible. One of the things that you said that I think is important because I'm going to own it. We're friends. I was going to play devil's advocate. And I'm like, Matt, we need humans. We need human touch points. We need relationships. And so I'm glad that you like highlighted that. And I also wanted to throw out there too. I think one of the things, and I would actually love your thoughts on this because you're like kind of at the forefront of this for you with clients. Like it's almost like I see a bifurcation in the road where like AI is coming out. You almost need somebody with a full time job to figure out what tools are there, how to use them, or you're watching 12 hours of YouTube videos a day. And
yeah,
everyone's like, I want to use all of it. But then I also see on the other side this like massive demand from people of like, I'm getting so used to it and so burnt out with it. I just want more people. I want more human interaction. I want more touch points. And I think that it's probably a Venn diagram of like utilizing them both. And like, for me, even years ago, like I remember, I think it was 7 years ago, I had a client 6 years ago when ManyChat came out. And, I'm the relationship speed algorithms guy. I'm like, we have to have a human. And I was like, but we have to have a human to start and end the evolution. It doesn't need to be there
in
for
the
every
middle.
touch point
Yeah.
in the middle. Right. And I almost equate the bot that you just shared, like when I call a restaurant. Right. This actually happened. This is a funny story. I was in Toronto with my partner and she's like, I want takeout from this place. And I was like, okay, cool. And I was fasting all day. So I was like, I'll get it for you. So I called and the line was busy. So I called again and the line was busy. And I called again and the line was busy. And over 31 minutes, I called 44 times. And on the 44th
Wow.
time, they picked up and I placed the order. But then there was a part of me that almost wanted a phone system to be like, hey, you can leave a message or, we'll put you on hold and tell you where you are. And in that experience and moment, I actually wanted some automation because I just kept hitting that busy signal and I don't have that anymore. Most of us don't. And so in the like bot area, and I think one of the distinctions you made about being paid media, right? One of the strategies with paid media is that if you get somebody's attention and you get an itch, you want to scratch it as fast as possible so that you don't like lose that lead. So how are you thinking about navigating fully embodying this tool and like utilizing it to have conversations while also protecting like that human relationship element?
Yeah, for sure. Good question. I mean, it does come down to like what is your overall client acquisition strategy? And yeah, and how that works. So like for me, I mean, you still have to talk to an enrollment specialist before you join our program. Or like, we're not going to make offers to anybody because like if it's not a good culture fit, if it's not a good energy fit, like, we don't, regardless of how much money you're making, whatever, doesn't mean that we can help you. So like, there's still that touch point of like, you've got to talk to a human to make sure that like our team can help. I think I'm not a huge fan of the Google Doc sales and all that stuff. Like I get how nice it can be, but also like the first step in it, if you're doing coaching consulting, is that first initial touch point where you're talking to somebody. You've got to coach them sometimes to make a decision, and like that's your opportunity to show your skill set. So like I don't like the fully automated like that type of play, but I think for the earlier on part to qualify somebody, especially if you have a lot of lead flow, it can be super valuable. Now, if you don't have any lead flow at all, like you should be like I would when I first started my business, I was on here sending audio messages, video
Oh,
messages, doing everything that I possibly could because I was just limited on the amount of leads I got. But then once you start paid ads, yeah, there's that speed to lead element of like if someone comes in and is expressing interest in your product, just like someone was calling, you're calling to make an order, you've got a very finite window of time. And typically it's like if you respond within 5 minutes of a lead coming in, you're three times more likely to get a response back. So if you're going to pay for ads and pay for leads, you do want some sort of system so people don't just like disappear, right? So I see it working kind of on the front end for a speed lead when someone comes in. It's just like, hey, ask a question, are they qualified, and get them to a call if they want help. But then the long term play isn't like, all right, let's just keep talking to the booking bot. For me, that's my YouTube channel where I make, hour long plus videos. And I just like, I don't care about how many views I get. I'm just like, cool. For me, my front end is getting people to join the email list and watch a video sales letter or join my free community. And then I just pump out YouTube videos. Those are super long, informal. I'm goofy. I'm like, oh man, my handwriting sucks when I'm like drawing, like I'm just being myself. And then those people, typically they just book off of a calendar link. It's like, hey, links in the description if you want to talk to my team about how we can help. Or we'll do a live masterclass. And then again, I'll share again opportunity to hop on a call with our team to see if it's a good fit is here. So there's still the start of it of like, it's an ad they opt in, but they have to talk to a human before they buy because we don't want to take everybody on. And then two, like the energy and the relationship building of the middle of
Mm.
funnel is huge. Middle of funnel is like where I spend almost most of my time, and I think a lot of people fail in the coaching consulting business because they focus too much on the lead generation, building a list, getting more leads, and it's like, yes, you need this. You can make some money off of a bot to help you too, but like 90%, 95% will not be buying today. That's where relationships come in, which is longer form podcasts, YouTube, etc.
Yeah. Oh, so many points. And by the way, what's your YouTube channel? Because I watch your videos, right? Just as a friend, but also like to learn. What's your YouTube channel for everybody?
Dr. Matt Shiver.
Okay, Dr. Matt Shiver.
Was it
Okay,
Matt or is it Matthew? I'm pretty sure it's Matt.
you can double check while I'm sharing this because I think you
Just
made
Matt.
some Matt. Okay, Dr. Matt Shiver. And by the way, guys, he's great and he teaches it. I think you made a couple really poignant points that like I want to call out. Number one is that the nature of the business dictates kind of the tools or the process that you have to utilize, right? I think that that's a really, really important one. So for everybody listening, when you're talking about cold leads, speed to lead, meaning like that person's hitting a lead in the top of funnel or hitting an ad in the top of funnel, and they instantaneously are like, well, I want this thing that I'm looking for. Doesn't mean they're going to convert, but it starts that process, right? So when he says top of funnel, what he's talking about is like acquisition. Middle of funnel is where all the magic happens. Because if you just go top of funnel, you get a whole lot of attention and nobody has the evidence needed or the relationship or the values or the culture to be able to determine the next step of that relationship. And so I think that that's equally important as well. But I'm saying this to people as well because you said this and you said it very, very quickly. You're not going to go install a bot like Closebot and all of a sudden double or triple your business. You're going to end up doubling or tripling your overhead and have a massive problem on your hand if you still don't understand how the process works, right? So just really simply for everybody listening, top of funnel is bringing you to somebody's awareness, either organically earned traffic or paid traffic. Middle of funnel, what Matt talked about, is a place for them to develop and deepen their relationship with you through information, through relationships, through values, through views. And then bottom of funnel, just to keep it really simple, is where they would make an action, like a call to action to be able to convert or to join a masterclass or to join your email list or to call. So I wanted to frame that because you said it so eloquently. And I was like, yes, like totally. But you took all my devil's advocate stuff out of it. I was like, yeah, but Matt, what about humans? And what about like relationships? And,
I know your
you know,
brand, man. I know what you're
I
gonna
know you, I
say.
know
So
you do. I know you do. I know you do. And to close the loop, the thing that I was going to say, because I didn't close the loop before, but on the ManyChat thing, like 7 years ago, what it was is I had a client and we had like 19 customer service agents because they sold a ring. And the number one thing was like the wrong size, the wrong
Mm,
color, swapping it out. And even then we used ManyChat, but AI didn't exist. So we had to manually build this like logic bot. So when they sent a DM, because all of our customer service was done on Facebook, because all the fans were on the Facebook page. So like by default, the customers dictated we're doing this on Facebook. So it was like hundreds and hundreds of DMs a day. But when we took the time, and it took us like 3 days, and we sticky noted every single step that could happen, like every question they asked and everything. And so then we designed this ManyChat flow that was like, hey, and this is why I'm sharing this. It's really interesting because I'm even challenged sometimes about people's relationships with AI, because even 7 years ago, I learned that some people wanted that. Other people wanted a human. But what we did is we're like, hey, do you have an issue? And they're like, yes. And we're like, great. Which one is it? The wrong size, the wrong color. You want to swap it to a different model. And then we built out the logic, but we reduced 19 customer service agents down to 2. And then we had every single point end with once we got like their address, their shipping, then it notified a human to jump into the conversation to finish. And it worked really, really well. But then people were like, oh, I want to talk to a human. And we're like, well, we just built all this for no reason. And so then we made 2 false characters. We made Pat and Sam, basically. And then that first message started with, hey, just wanted to give you a result faster. We have our bots, we named them like robots, that can help you get your information so that we can get this faster. Do you want to talk to Pat or Sam? And the moment they selected like which bot they wanted to talk to, they made it all the way through the funnel. And so it was like this
Wow.
parasocial relationship that made it
That's cool.
work. But it was also like we were very transparent about it. And the desire was like, we don't want you to have to wait. Like if you're sitting there and you message us, I want to ship a replacement out to you in the next 10 minutes, not make you wait 3 hours till a human can get back, especially like during after hours working. So even at the end of one of them, when it was after hours, we would say like, hey, you have 2 options. If you feel complete and this is what you want, hit this button, we'll ship the replacement right now, or hit this button and we'll notify a team member. And tomorrow morning, you'll be the first message that they respond to. And it was like giving agency and giving choice, but being very open as well, that like we were doing this to serve them, but also it was like a robot.
Yeah, and I think there's also like because some of these bots or even humans, like because a lot of coaches have humans appointment setters. Like we have 2 appointment setters now for most of our stuff. But if someone ever asks, like, "Am I talking to you?" Like, just be honest.
A
I
hundred
can't
percent.
tell you, dude. Because like even I programmed the bot to be like, "Is this a bot?" And then the response is, "Yep, this is a bot. This is actually one of the things that we help people build so they can get more time back." Matt checks these messages when he's not with clients.
Mm-hmm.
Like don't lie about it.
No,
That's
don't
when
lie.
I have a really hard time where it's like, "No, this is Matt. How's it going?" You're like, "Prove it."
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And it's like, well, what are you wearing right now? And I'm like, oh, broken algorithm. Like you got to be open and you got to be honest with people, because we know too. And you end up turning
Yeah.
something that could be beneficial or positive into something negative by being dishonest. So yeah, what other fun things are you playing with, or how are you utilizing like AI in your business?
Yeah, I mean, the other I'd say that's one that we're spending a lot of time on. The other one's Poppy AI. Have you used Poppy AI
I
yet?
haven't I haven't used Poppy. I haven't heard of it. Now I'm overwhelmed again. But yes, tell me about Poppy.
All right, dude. So this thing is incredible. Okay, so Poppy AI, it's I like it a lot. So have you ever used like a Miro board?
Yeah, 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 all the time.
Yeah, so it's essentially like ChatGPT slash all the other language models. Is it language models? I call them the
Yeah, yeah,
LMs. I
they're
don't know.
language
Yeah.
models. Yeah, they're language models.
Um, yeah, so it's like it's on a Miro type board, right? So what you can do is you can copy and paste YouTube videos, like just copy and paste the link and the URL, and go to the board and just push Control V, and it just pastes it on there. You can do it with YouTube videos or Instagram videos, and then right as you post and copy and paste it, you can have a little chat widget that's cooked up to any language model of your choice. I use Anthropic for a lot of mine, and then I can just drag and drop. So like I just connect them, just like you would in Miro, YouTube video to chat. And then you can ask it questions. You can get the full script from it, which is super valuable for Instagram because like you can't download videos and try to get scripts because oh that's a good script. I want to make a piece of content like that. What do they say? Oh, I got to watch it, take notes. Nah, you just go in there, you copy and paste it, and then you connect it to a chat and say what was the script in here, and what was the you can even ask it what was the visual hook they used, and it can watch the video as well as get the transcript, and it can tell you what to do, and then you can what I'll do too is you can also put SOPs as text files in there. So multiple, like, the video could be connected to the chat, and then an SOP could be connected to a chat.
Wow.
So what I'll do is I've got my email GPT. So like whenever a YouTube video goes out, I have an SOP for how the template of it. So I just plug in my YouTube video, connect, email SOP, connect, and I just say, write me an email, please, for this video. Boom. And then the full thing will come out with like, here's the email. So I wrote 4 of those in like 10 minutes yesterday. That was my email marketing for the week. And I was like, wow.
Wow.
So
Okay, I'm mind blown now. I'm so excited about this one because I'm looking at my phone right now because there's one. You know what's so funny is you called out like a big problem is like I'll watch YouTube videos and I love them and I'm like, oh man, I want to like save this. I want like notes on this. I'm like, oh, what was that script? So I found an app called Recall and it's an AI app and I can paste in the YouTube link, but then it basically creates me like a college level course per the video, a
mm,
short version, a detailed version, and then, but I can't get the transcript from it. Right. And I'll do that sometimes because I'll take the transcripts and I'll put it in like my own thing to like put notes in my Notion. And I'm like, I need the transcript to be able to do it. I love that you can like query against it. So like if I paste a YouTube video, then I can attach like a chat bot, but then I can attach that chat bot to an
SOP.
email SOP. So like
Yeah.
I can basically make a spider web around this one chat and then it's querying each one of these things and pulling me out the thing that I need.
Yes, and then you can start if you wanna start a new chat, like, you can just be like, "New chat," and you can connect more videos to it or do it over, or you could like, because that's the issue I think with ChatGPT oftentimes is, like, if you have a long thread going, it has to analyze the entire
The entire
conversation,
thing.
and then it spits out the next thing. So, like, if you're in the little chat widget, you can just push "New conversation," and all the things are connected already, and you just replace the YouTube video for the new YouTube video, and be like, "Do it now," and then it'll just start all over again. It's incredible. I'm ripping out like, yeah, like ad scripts and YouTube intros with it pretty easily. And then another cool feature about it, this is probably another thing that is, you can group elements together. So you could put in like 3 or 4 of your YouTube videos, and then you can connect those 3 or 4 videos into a chat and say, I want you to analyze these videos and find my tone. And I want you to find like, my style. Then you take that output, you find another YouTube video that you like, you could plug that in, and then you say, "Hey, here's my tone that I already created with the other one. I want you to rewrite this, and here's the ideal avatar this one's going out to." And boom, it'll just like spit it out, and it's good. I write all my intros and all my like short form scripts and ads because it just takes very very little time. Um, and yeah, I don't have to pay a copywriter. I just pay. I think the service is they make you buy it annually. So I think it's $400 total or $360. So it's about $30 a month, but you buy it annually. Man, it's worth every freaking penny. I was going to pay a copywriter, for that stuff. I'm looking at a couple $1,000 a month.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's my mind's blown actually. It's POPPY, right?
POPPY.
Yeah, so I found it for everybody listening. It's getpoppy.ai. I found it because like I have a flight tomorrow with my son and I'm gonna be playing with that thing on a flight and
Dude, it's
using
so
that
good,
time
man.
to dive in. I I love that. I wanna kind of stay in the same vein, but I want to change gears a little bit because like you've been in this game of like online marketing, digital marketing since like 2015. So like we're going on a decade, right? And the one thing about marketing is it always changes and you've seen like a lot of changes and you also have your hands in the pot with like a lot of clients. And one thing you mentioned earlier is your nurture based content, your value based content. But I see this rise in people thinking that AI is replacing the need to nurture relationships or to provide these value because they're not getting the views or they're not getting, X or Y. And so I'm curious too, like, what are your thoughts now on like the current state of marketing and what do you see, what mistakes do you see people making because of all these changes that we're facing right now?
Yeah, I think you'll like the answer. um, yeah, I mean, it's just noisier than ever because there are
Yeah.
these tools like Poppy that can make you script real fast. So the amount of content that's going out into the internet and online is more and more and more. So everyone's views are dropping, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. I think they're going to continue to get more scarce. So you have to find your people, which is why I'm a huge fan of paid ads because again, like you can force your message in front of a number of people. For 20 to 40 bucks, you can put your message in front of 1,000 new people if you have a good message and you show up authentically of like this is who you are, not like you can script it out, but you still have to deliver it with your energy. And that's what people I think are drawn to now. So like I don't see AI replacing coaching consulting. I mean, sure, I have a coach consultant, but like I still talk to ChatGPT and ask it things. I know if I want like a real depth answer, I'm going to ask a human. If I need to figure
Mhm.
out like things fast, I'm gonna go to ChatGPT. But like there's you're not going to replace that. I think people will crave it more, but the marketing styles you choose, like you got to do more long form. Like that's just it. Like, I think it was so much easier even 2 years ago just to have short form content and DM people and book calls, and that was easy. But now, like, I mean, the response rate for DMs across the board is lower. The
Yep.
response rate for cold traffic ads is a lot lower. So, like, even like I pulled looking at this year's data. So I always track the lead to purchase window. So the time somebody gives me their contact info for a lead magnet or a training, whatever, and then buys across the entire my entire business since I started. Well, this offer I started in 2023. It's 60 days. It takes 60 days for a lead to give me their contact and then buy. But this year, I was on a call. I was like, let's just see if this has changed at all. This year, just alone, the average time from lead to purchase is now 90 days. So it has
Mm.
increased by 50% just on my data alone, 50% longer. So, that what that tells me is I have to continue to develop more relationships. Hey, and I have to post more long form content. And like I have
Mhm.
to play this game. So while I'm the first, I teach a lot of ad strategies, but I'm actually, if you looked at my ads and my return on ad spend, it's pretty modest because I'm playing the longer term game of like, cool, I'm going to get a 2 to 3x on the front end. I'm not chasing a 6 to 10x. That's baloney. I'm going to go for a nice 2 to 3x, and I'm going to collect all this information from all these people. I'm going to build the YouTube channel. I'm going to build the email list. I'm going to do live master classes. I'm going to go in front of other people's audiences, and I'm going to build this ecosystem of trust to where one day if the ads don't work anymore, I'm not out of business. And again, I'm
Mhm.
the first to say, yeah, you should do ads because again, it's way harder to capture attention now with organic content because of the competition. But I'm building an ecosystem that doesn't will eventually require ads because I've used it to build the trust and the audience with the longer form stuff.
Mm. Dude, I love the way that you framed that too, because you're building a moat while you're using ads, right? The ads get you in front of these people, but you're also investing in all the right strategies. And, the word would be endowment from Jonah Berger, like for people to have a relationship. And, it's interesting too, because I haven't had this conversation, but I like, there was a time like 2 years ago where you could build an entire business on short form content because everybody wasn't inundated and blown out so much. But I agree with you that I think there's this the writing is on the wall. Like views aren't going to matter, the vanity metrics aren't going to matter. It's that depth with people, and I'm so glad that you shared data as well, like just you seeing lead purchase window. Because for me, I live in both worlds. I live in the service space with you, like you would be a client, but I also live in the product world and selling health products and supplements. And here's the craziest part: we're seeing the same exact thing for people buying physical products. And we're not talking about like thousands of dollars. We're talking about a $55 sleep supplement
Hmm.
that, if you go back 5 years ago and open somebody's pantry, they'd have 10 of them. And now they're spending 90 ish days of like, do I really want this? And it's
Mm.
so crazy because since we've been in this game and you go all the way back, like content's king, content's king. And I'm watching people now be like, oh, I don't need content anymore. I'm like, no, actually, that's the thing that's working. That's the only thing that's working because they need to collect evidence. They need to see if they have this desire. They want to know how it works. And so, like, I love the focus on that wholeheartedly. I love that.
Yeah, and I think the people that I see struggle and come to me, they again they focus just on the front end, like front end ads, front end content, all Instagram, and if you don't have a longer term play, it's a lot harder. So like the funnels that I see like are the most profitable. Like let's say what funnels, like some of the best conversion mechanisms. I don't want to call it a funnel. Are
Yeah.
doing live webinars, live challenges, live events, those things are back now. Those dried up for a while, like, 2020 and after that, but, like, live events now are still a great way to get people to know, like, and trust you. Like, my
I got
top
one
clients
coming
have
up in
came to
October.
yeah, yeah. My top clients have came to one of those events before or after buying, and they've also shared with other people. So, like, I I I think if more people played the long-term game and don't focus so much on, like, "I've gotta grow now," that would be better. Like, even if you broke
Yep.
even on your ads, but you captured a couple hundred, maybe a couple thousand leads that month. If you do a good job in the middle of funnel, you're fine. Like, so I'm like, all right, cool. We
Yeah.
broke even. That's not great because I still pay a closer and team. But, like, even if that happens, I'm not scared because I know that the rest of the machine is going to do its job as long as I keep showing up and my energy's good. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm. Dude, I love the way that you said it. Yeah. I didn't stop events during COVID. I live in Montana, so people kept coming. We got another one coming up in October, and I'm gonna have to get you out to one of them just to come play
Oh,
with
dude,
us
I'd
for
love to
like
come. That'd be
3
fun.
days.
Yeah.
I love the way you say it because I used to say this to clients, and I actually said it a couple of weeks ago, and I love your focus on this. Like, I just want to highlight what you said. If you actually focus on playing the long game the right way, the short game handles itself,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And I think, you even made this point earlier, just even in a buying window. One of the things that I see happening a lot, and for early stage entrepreneurs, is they'll be investing in the long game and it'll start working. And then they're like, okay, I don't have to do these things anymore. Right. It works. But there's this 90-day trailing effect. And by the
Yeah.
time they realize it, there's nothing in that pipeline in the front. And then all of a sudden they're like, what do I do? And I love your focus of like, you have to keep, like you said, as long as I keep showing up and my energy's good, I have to still consistently do that. So even as you scale your business, even if you're turning up ads, it's not like, oh, I get to turn down my organic nurturing. Truthfully, it's the opposite. It's like you have to turn that up because they need, and this is why I use a lighthouse as branding, but they need a harbor to live in where they have agency to consume, right? And your YouTube channel is incredible. I send your videos to people all the time. My watch later playlist has probably like 12 Matt videos in it.
Let's
Um,
go.
yeah,
Thank
dude,
you.
I
I'm
love it.
honored, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
dude, of
honored.
course. I love it. And I'm like, no, no, Matt says it way better than I do. Like, watch this video. But people need that agency to be able to build that relationship because the other thing that you'll realize, and I think this is an interesting thing to get your perspective on, paid ads is not a way to try to force somebody to make a decision. It's just a faster way to get in front of somebody to allow them agency to make a decision. And I see this all the time with my clients where we're running paid ads and they're like, they're running ads, but they don't have an organic social or they don't have like a community or they don't have long form content. And I was like, hey, if somebody clicks on an ad and they don't convert, where do you think the first place they go is? And they're like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, they go find you and they go
Yeah,
start collecting evidence. But if they go looking and there's nothing there, then you just spent that in some cases $39 to get a click. And then they were like, oh, I'll look at the menu, except there is no menu. There's no
yeah,
appetizers, there's no entrees, there's no desserts. And then I was like, what's your strategy? And they're like, well, we're retargeting them. I'm like, dude, no means no. Like, force doesn't work in digital marketing either. And so there's this still, I just love the way that you're saying it. There's this still this massive, massive opportunity, but almost requirement that you show up and exchange value, that you actually help people, that you teach people, because it gives them the ability to build a relationship with you, to know how you see things, how you talk about things, the way that you frame things, what it would be like to be a client of yours. And I think that that's the biggest opportunity for everybody.
yeah. And I'll share another, like, a little tidbit too. It can help with that because I know some people may not have the time necessarily to get into long form just yet, and then they know if they create a lot of educational longer reels and stuff, they don't get as much views. Well, one of the things that I run is very low budget. So we spend close to about $1,000 a day. This is maybe 30 to $50 a day. So less than 5% of our total spend. What we'll do is we'll actually put my organic videos, organic reels, and I'll even upload entire YouTube videos to Instagram or to the ads manager, and I'll just optimize them. They're all FAQs, common objections, trust building, like how tos and stuff like that, all around most of my front end products around ads. So a lot of videos that are on ads. How long does it take to get a return on ad spend? How much should I spend on ads? Do I need to be making X amount to start ads? Will this hurt my organic reach? So, like, I know the questions my prospects thinking or asking, and I'll just create a video, and I don't care about the engagement of it. It'll just be me in front of this camera right here. I'll just, have a crop for a reel, and we'll put, 3 to 5% of our budget, very minimal, and turn it into a video view campaign. There's no call to action button on these ads. It is just a video that is just giving some value away. And I just opened this up yesterday. I used to just, as of last week, it was just retargeting people who've given me their contact info. But I've been changing out some of the funnel stuff. So I turn it to anybody that has engaged on a post in the last 30 days, and anybody that has became a lead who has opted in on my website in 30 days. So if they're an active person in my ecosystem now, with the way that I have this set up, about two posts per day will pop up on their feed. They're just pure value, right? And not my ads that are asking them to do anything. Just two things that are just pure value and common objections. Where again, sometimes I'll upload entire client interviews that are just like value driven into Facebook Ads Manager, and it's like a 20-minute video, and they're just optimized to get views, not to the clicks. I'm not asking for anything. But we found that we've been starting to pair that with some of our clients who are running ads too, because some of them maybe they don't have time. Maybe they're working
Mhm.
full time, or they can only get 2 or 3 posts up a week. But if they're really good posts, you can just put all your old posts that you've already done that already do that stuff in front of a new audience or a new lead that came in from your ecosystem. So we've been playing with that for a little bit. I don't have any like hard data of like this is really effective, but to me it feels like a really good play, and I believe that it increases the nurture cycle as long as I'm not popping up so many times in their feed they get annoyed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and I also think I actually had a client call today and I was like, "Listen, if somebody gets annoyed because we're giving them too much value, just give them the unsubscribe button. Like you don't want them as a client anyways, right? People have agency to self-select." But it reminds me, I love that example that you gave because even back, dude, I remember God, like early days, first year of Facebook ads. I was like 2014, 2015, something like that. And maybe 2013. I was helping a client and, back then you could do whatever you want. It was the Wild West. Like you
Yes,
did
yes.
10, 18 to 99 in any country. And all of a sudden you're getting like a 25x ROAS, right? Like you're like, here we go. It's like printing money. But I created this equation back then that I still like think about and use. And you just talked about it. And I was like, if we think about 5 touch points, those 5 touch points have to accomplish a few things. There have to be 3 value based, 1 open ended question for engagement, and then 1 ask. Because you have to deposit more than you withdraw. And even hearing you talking about it, my brain was triggered by that of like, oh, I remember that. That's still the same way.
Yeah.
Is this nurture content? And I've seen this personally with a client. And for people listening, I don't run ads in my company. A lot of my clients don't, but I do have clients that do, and I still advise on them. But same point to your value thing is like one day we realized like their top of funnel was drying up, right? Like there was like multi-$100,000 a month business and top of funnel's drying up, and I'm like doing surgery. I'm like, what changed? Like what happened? What was it? And after like a couple of hours of meetings, I was like, wait, when did you stop going live once a week? And they're like, oh, like 8 weeks ago. And I was like, start that again. And no script, no agenda,
Yeah.
just opening up Instagram, 35, 45 minutes once a week of like, ask me anything you want, ask me anything you want. We pulled that lever back on and everything started filling back in again. And it was like nobody was having the experience to see what it was like to be coached by this person or asking a direct question or having their objections handled. And so the way that you described that, I think is huge for everybody. But like that middle of funnel, what we're talking about, that nurture bucket is the most important bucket when it comes to your business, whether you're doing it organically or whether you're doing it paid wise. And I can give
Yeah.
another case study too for a supplement company that I help scale. And when we came in, they were running paid ads to a subscription product. But then if you didn't buy, they just kept retargeting you. Buy it now, get a discount, do XYZ. And the only thing we replaced is we actually started teaching them the content that helped them get the result without the product instead of just retargeting them. And then it flipped the funnel from losing money to making like 10x the dollars by actually educating and nurturing people. And so there's so much weight to what's there. But I think I'm glad we're having the conversation because I'm seeing people left, right, and center like, well, AI does that now. I don't need to nurture people. I don't need to, build that relationship. Well, it's not getting that many views. And I say this to clients all the time. I was like, your nurture content's not supposed to get a lot of views. It's not about width, it's about depth. It's about giving somebody something to consume so that they can build that relationship and have those objections handled and learn things from you in the process, which only gives them evidence to like move forward. So I have to ask on like a paid side, just because you do this and you do this with clients, right? What are some of the biggest mistakes people make when it comes to running paid ads?
Yeah. I think first is still having no middle funnel. I'd say that's probably the top, right?
Yeah.
It's if a client comes in and they've already got an established following, an email list and stuff like that, like man, it's so much easier to get a return on ad spend from them because they've already built trust. So like that's like probably easiest is having that middle funnel and having trust built already before you start. You don't have to by any means. If you're brand new and don't have anything, you can still get started, but just know that you should expect a lower return on ad spend because all the people that are in this bucket that people have already been warming up and nurturing, they're the first people to see your ads. So like, those are the people who are going to hit it first. So it's often inflated um, because of that. So I think, yeah, nurture content. And then the second one's going to be just not having clear tracking good data. Like
Mm,
it is extremely, Facebook, the algorithm for Facebook ads is it's a machine learning algorithm. So like if you're optimizing for the wrong things, you're going to get whatever you optimize for. So like if you're optimizing for link clicks, you're going to get crappy link clicks. If you're optimizing for leads, you're going to get a bunch of leads. Doesn't mean there'll be book calls or buyers. If you're optimizing for book calls, but you don't have like an application beforehand, you're gonna get a bunch of book calls. So a lot of it is like understanding how the machine works and making sure you are asking for the right inputs that you want that are actually gonna help you grow your business. And then also being able to track those metrics on a consistent basis to know, what are my kill points for this? When do I shut this thing off? Because I've seen some people who are like, "Oh man, this thing is awesome. We're getting the best cost per lead. They're like $3." And they've been running them for a while. I'm like, "Great, how much money have you made?" None. I'm like, "All right, you spent, 2, 3 grand and you got a bunch of leads, but you get no calls or no sales." Yeah, but my leads are so good. It's like, yeah, but like you need to know your numbers. Because if you spend 3 grand and it's like a health and fitness offer, you should be getting a client for 500 to $700. So
hmm
like sure, your cost per lead's great, but your cost per call and cost per client sucks. So your funnel sucks. So it's like so it's kind of two parts there. Like understanding when you're optimizing for things, you got to be very clear on what you want because Facebook will give you what you want. It'll give you exactly what you want. Leads great. You want calls great. If you want qualified calls, it'll do that if you optimize the right thing. And then two is knowing your numbers and like knowing your numbers, like how much should it cost and how much do you know your margins? Man, I can't tell you
Yeah.
that many calls I've had where people are like, I'm like, yeah, dude, your fulfillment costs are too high to run ads. You have no margins. And they get upset. They're like,
Mm,
but I want to run ads. I'm like, well, you got to charge 10 times the value because you're paying a coach way more than you should be because you don't have any margins. So it's like,
mm.
I think it's a bigger conversation, but just like knowing your numbers and treating it like a business, yeah, is just is so important. And even like there's a lot of other ad coaches out there that I get their overflow clients or the clients that came to them. And I'm like, they have to let you run ads with these margins? You're just burning money. What are you doing?
Yeah, man. I think the third one that I would add, because you said this is like an undertone, is having realistic expectations and managing those expectations as well. Because I think you see it as well, right? Like there are people that are out there that like just want you as a client and they will let you just run whatever you want to run because they're getting paid. And then I think the other important thing to know is that I think the one piece I would add underneath this, and I know you see it the same way, is you also have to understand on the tools that you're using, those tools have an agenda as well. Like Facebook's agenda is to be an ATM machine for Mark Zuckerberg. There's no really better way to say it, right? They're not really interested in whether you get a lead or a qualified lead. That's up to you. But I see people operating that all the time. Well, like, yeah, but I can just run Facebook ads. I was like, yeah, but Facebook is in the business of making money and they will make money on the people that don't understand or how to utilize that platform. It's like the gyms that like sign up for $9 a month and then 90% of my people don't come. They make their money off the people that don't come or don't know how to utilize the tool. And so I think that those would be like the two that I would add to like be really, really realistic about it. And the way that you said, like, know your data, know your business, don't treat it like it's a hobby, like treat it like a business. You have to know those numbers and know those costs, but you have to be willing to look at them because everything is a data-driven decision, especially in paid media.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like you need a little education. You need education just in basic P&L and all that stuff before you start. Um, yeah, not everybody does that, Not everybody does that, but that's like, I don't know, that's day one for me. It's like, let's look at the P&L, before we decide on if it's even a good move or not. I've pushed people away on sales calls because I look at the numbers. I'm like, we'll make you broke.
Yeah.
We'll get you leads and we'll make you broke. Do you want to do
Well,
that?
well, yeah, and I probably need to connect you, but my friend Mitch was on the podcast. His episode hasn't come out yet, but his Instagram and TikTok is Beardpreneur. You might have seen him, right? All he does is he teaches ads, he runs an agency, but for
Oh,
any
cool.
business, he's incredible. You guys would hit off well, but he's like, I was like, who shouldn't run ads? And he's like, if you think you're going to make money, don't run them instantly, right? If you think you're going to spend like a couple dollars a day, like don't run them instantly. He's like, I'll be the first one to tell you no. He's like, there's also like it's an entirely different game and you have to be willing to learn the rules of the field, but you have to be willing to learn with money because every
Yeah.
lesson that you learn has to be paid for, right? And so you can either be intelligent with the lesson that you're paying for and reduce the pain of that lesson, or you can be unintelligent and then you end up like we see it all the time. Like, oh, I spent 20 grand with this agency and I didn't get any sales and I spent XYZ. And I was like, yes, but also there's no advocating your responsibility of your business out to people, right? Like you can hire an ads person, you can hire an agency, and yes, they will help you, but they also don't have the responsibility of your business. You do. And that's like giving my son to somebody that I haven't vetted and I expect them to like feed him right and bathe him right and take him to school right. I'm like, no, I'm going to give you a freaking manual of like
Yeah.
what I expect so that like I know my son is cared for. So I think that those are really, really valid and important points. Now, with your clients, so you primarily focus on like health and wellness, right?
That's my background. We've started expanding beyond that. I still say majority of our clients are in that B2C, like health, fitness, a little bit of relationship type of field. We do have a decent number of like business coaches, consultants, marketers, just because like just the language I talk, how I talk about
Yeah.
things, like it draws those people to me without directly calling them out. But then same thing because of my health background, I'm a physical therapist by trade. I have probably 20-25% of my clients who are health professionals, like doctors, of chiropractic, or PTs, or nurse practitioners, or functional med. So it's kind of a hodge. It's kind of a mix now. Like we started just with health and wellness for 2 years, and then I wanted to expand beyond that, just because I was like, all right, cool. I'm growing as an entrepreneur, and I don't want to just keep solving this one problem for this one demographic. I'm going to expand a little bit more. So within the last 6 months or so, we opened it up to more online coaches, consultants, not just health and wellness, but most of my funnel is still full of them because for years, that's all we've
Hmm.
marketed to. So my email list, my school group, all those people are primarily health and wellness. But I'd say the new leads are coming in probably 33 to 34, 33 to 40% or so are health and wellness. And then the other are, outside of that.
Okay. Yeah, because like I'm curious too, because you mentioned this like in passing earlier, but like we've talked a lot of time, we spent a lot of time talking about paid ads, which you're one of the people that I default to. There's only two people that I recommend people learn from, and it's you and Mitch. And I send them to his TikTok because he combs his beard on every single one. And then I send them to
I
your
love that.
YouTube, but I have videos saved
Love
for the
that.
questions that they ask me. And, for the person listening to this, right, like who should and who shouldn't run ads for their business?
Yeah, great question. I mean, the answer is it depends, but someone who does not know their numbers should not run ads.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Somebody who has, hasn't proven their offer that having at least 10 clients minimum, like if this is a brand new offer, get at least 10 clients. Like you can get 10 clients from your network. Like if you
Yes.
can't get 10 clients from network, it's probably a bad offer. Let's just be honest.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, you got to prove an offer, know your numbers, you're comfortable losing money. But you hinted on that of like, you got to learn to play the game. You do it by paying money. So like realistically, ideally this doesn't happen, but you need to be comfortable spending 3 months of ad spend and losing all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Treat that like your next business mentorship investment. Because what'll happen is someone will work with us and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm struggling. I'm gonna go hire another coach." I'm like, "Okay, you're gonna go spend another 10 grand on a coach, or what if you just put that 10 grand into this thing and you learn with that
Mm-hmm.
money versus paying this other guy 10 grand. And then you put more money in the thing just to learn the thing that you're avoiding learning just by paying someone else to tell you what to do. So you got to be able to be comfortable losing money, And again, like that's not ideal. Ideally, like, when we launch our ads for our clients, we want them to at least break even the first month. That is our
Mhm.
goal. Doesn't happen for everybody, especially if you've got an interesting niche or it's an unproven niche. Like, you know, but yeah, it's like you got to be comfortable losing 3 months of ad spend. If you cannot do that, do not run ads. Okay. Like, because what's going to happen is this happens to us too, is we'll sign a client and they're super urgent. And then after 3 days goes by, they're like, cost per lead's too much. I need a better strategy. I'm like, bro, it's been 3 days.
Yep. Yep.
And they're like, yeah, but I'm almost at 1 times KPI for this. I'm like, you got to let it go, bro. You got to let the money burn. And then after we have, a week, 2 weeks of data, we can kind of look at things. 3 days is nothing, and
Nothing.
if that's a lot to you and you're nervous about spending that, like you should not be spending money.
Yes. That's a really, really good answer. I love that. Like one of my clients is a World Series of Poker professional. Like won World Series of Poker championships, teaches people all of it. But it's like you get your education at the table, right? Like you can study games, you can do simulations, you can do bots all you want, but until you're like in a hand and you make the wrong call and you lose to some of these dudes $1 million in a hand, but on the lower level, the beginning ones, like you don't get the lesson to be able to like not make that mistake again. And I think to summarize all of that, I think the way that I would summarize it is I don't think people give paid ads the credit that they deserve. It's not a hobby. It's not a something that's just going to figure itself out. It's not I'm going to go watch a 30-minute YouTube video and all of a sudden be a master. Like it is a skill set that
Yeah.
requires investment and you get an equilateral return based on your investment. And I think that that's the part. But I also watch people who they'll be like, well, I'm going to this retreat, to help with my business. And I spent 20 grand on it. I'm like, well, what'd you get? They're like, well, I'm journaling now. I'm like, I love that for you. Like
Yes.
I love that for you. And I'm the guy who helps people do that. But I also
Yeah.
give you business tactics in it. But like in that same education, you could take that 20 grand. That's 6 months of ad spend for your offer that has an 80% margin if you're willing to play and learn it. And I watch people, spend on frivolous things and then not really in growing their business. But the reason I wanted to call that out is that you said it in passing. No matter who you hire, no matter what you try to do, whether you try to run ads or not, you're not going to find a way to hide from the thing that you won't look at. Maybe that's your data. Maybe that's knowing your
Yeah.
P&L. Maybe that's, knowing your margin. Maybe you've never even taken the time to realize what it costs you to fulfill your own offer because you don't have a team. And you're like, no, I can take on 20 more clients. And then 20 more clients makes you Oprah broke because you literally don't have 32 hours a day. And so I think that there's like a deeper invitation under all of it. But what I find is like paid media tends to be the magnifying glass that tends to expose it all for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good, man. That's
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, man. I love this. I could do this with you all day, but we got to wrap because I got to pack. We're gonna have to do a round two too, and I have to
Yeah.
introduce you to a few people. One
Please.
one question before I wrap though is for people that are like on the fence, right? And I'm gonna plug you. Like everybody, you need to number one follow Matt on Instagram and YouTube. Those are the only two places I follow him. So he might be on TikTok too, but he'll give you those
Yeah.
in a minute. But like, are there any like I love like principle or value based resources, right? That stand the test of time that aren't like strategies and tactics. But if somebody's like really interested, they're like, I actually want to see if I could run ads or what the feasibility is. Like, are there books or YouTube videos or things that you consume that like would help somebody?
Yeah. I mean, I'll do a mini plug. I've got a mini course group on School. It's just
Mm,
mattshiver.com/slash ads. And in the first section, it's like 7 to 10 videos long that are just FAQs before you even
mm,
get into how to run ads. And they're all principle based of like understanding those questions. Like I asked earlier, will this hurt my organic engagement? How long should I wait before I see a lead? How long should I do this? So those are all, I mean, some of those things might be adjusted with time, but I think that's a great place because it talks about all the mindset components first before we even go, here's the strategy and here's the tactic. Cause those, like you said, will change. So if you are, that's mainly for coaches, consultants, like on the online stuff. So you can go check that out.
What was
Um,
that URL again, Matt?
mattshiver.com/ads,
Okay,
ADS.
/ad. So for everybody listening, it's mattshiver.com/ads. And I'll have
Yeah.
everything linked in the show notes too.
Yeah, so that I mean that's a good spot to go for sure. And in terms of general marketing principles, like I'm a huge fan of Eugene Swartz' Breakthrough Advertising. That's like an OG
Yep.
original book. And I actually ignored it for a while, and then probably I don't know, this past year is when I really picked it up and started to understand the concepts of it and understanding like levels of awareness, market sophistication.
Yep.
That has been really transformative because paid ads is really, we kind of talked about it, is just broadcasting a message out to people. And if you don't know how competitive your market is, if you don't know the other mechanisms that are out there and available to people, um, and you don't know like where people are in the buyer stage of awareness of like, do they know they have a problem? Do they know the solution exists? Do they, all of those things like really will impact your ability to make an offer and make it an ad. If you're just running ads that are bottom of funnel, people who are the most aware, you're going to burn through those leads like that.
Mm.
But if you're like, I'm going to make a problem aware. If you know this, I'm going to make a problem aware ad. Okay, so someone who knows they're overweight, they don't know a solution, and I'm in a very sophisticated market that's very competitive. That means I need to make this type of ads. Like if you can get to think like that, it doesn't matter if it's a paid ad or if it's an organic content, you start to kind of play the game of like, all right, this next ad, I'm going to try to make a solution aware ad for this demographic. So, uh, all of that is covered in Breakthrough Advertising.
Yep.
It's like an OG original book. So I'm going to highly plug that. I mean, that thing is probably, I don't even know when it was written, but it is OG,
OG.
OG. And those concepts have not changed. I mean, I think you could, I say they haven't changed. I don't use all 5 stages of market awareness. I use 4. I think it can be simplified if you're
Hmm.
selling a product versus service. But for the most part, the concepts in there are very valuable and help me when I think about an ad. I'm not just like, oh, I got to make an ad for my lead magnet. That's what it used to be. Now I'm like,
Yes.
I need to make an ad for my lead magnet for this demographic in this market. Now, how do I make the messaging fit that mold so I can get the result that I want?
Mm.
So that's my second plug, just for all marketing.
Very well said. And now the part of me wants to go find the PDF of that book and put it into Get Poppy and then open a chat dialogue and have it start referencing that book. So I'm like really stoked to play with this Get Poppy AI too. So that's my little hack.
Ooh, dude, you could totally do that. I have the
A hundred,
PDF version too.
100%. See,
Yeah,
see. And then the one note, because I want to add rocket fuel to Matt's fire, but he said this earlier. Like you also have to believe in your offer. Like you have
yeah,
to know, and you have to know that it gets results, and you have to be willing. There's a whole podcast in this. You also have to be willing to iterate it and make improvements on it, right? Like it's a recipe. Your offer's a
yeah,
recipe that you can make better and better and better. Your paid ad strategy, your organic strategy, your earned media strategy, all of these things, your lead magnets, they're all recipes. There's no finish line in all of them. There's an invitation for iteration. And so the one that I would stack on the Eugene Schwartz one is The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Medino
I've
is,
read that one.
oh, you'll love it. Here's the rule though.
Mm.
When you read it, you have to follow the rules in the book. So this book, no matter how fast you read, will take you 8 weeks to read if you follow it how you're supposed to follow it. Because there's scrolls in the book that you have to read morning, afternoon, and night. And you have to earn the right to move on to the next scroll. And it
Mm.
is a really, really powerful book. So that's my one that I'm going to toss out. And that one's like, I think 100+ years old. And it
Wow.
hasn't changed. It's so powerful, so powerful. It's called The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Medino. So Matt, brother, YouTube, we gave everybody, your website is mattshiver.com.
Yep, mattshiver.com.
And then what's your Instagram handle again? I forgot it.
Same, Dr. Matt Shiver. So same thing
Dr.
for
Matt
YouTube.
Shiver. Yeah. Okay.
Dr. Matt Shiver. Matt Shiver. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this for everybody too. Matt's a friend of mine. He's a brother. He is one of the most integrous, value driven men ever. Given the container that we like met in person, I can speak, volumes about that and vouch all day. But I also know Matt loves helping people, loves learning. So like, if you have a question, shoot it his way. If you want to share a breakthrough, shoot it his way. If you just want to send a thought of gratitude of like, you gave me a permission slip, or I'm really excited about this, or I never thought about this. Feedback loops only work if you fill them up, and people like Matt love to hear them as well. And so I know he's one to be of service. And so please reach out with whatever that is for you, just so you can help and be a part of it. And so Matt, brother, thank you for piloting the back of the car episode and handling some tech issues with me. We figured it out. We made it through the episode.
Great, man.
We only had to hit re-record 3 times, but we're here and we got it. Just for everybody to see behind the scenes. And before I get blasted with too much vitamin D,
Yeah,
brother,
it's coming. It's coming in. I've been seeing it watch just go from your face to here.
Yeah. Oh, it so has. And if you're watching this, by the way, right before the podcast, I turned my car and angled it towards the sun, so I had shade from my hatchback. And I was like, I'm going to see if I can time this right. So I'm also learning that when I go up to the top of a mountain, I might want to bring like a pop-up tent so I have some sun coverage. But we're getting into fall, so my laptop won't overheat, and I might just let all the vitamin D come onto my sun, and we'll handle it. But brother, thank you for coming on. Thanks for doing this with me. Thanks for just being a friend. And yeah, I don't know, you like bring this light to my life, like this excitement about entrepreneurship. It just like inspires me, the way that you see it, the way that you do it, the way that you talk about it. So like, it's an honor to do this with you, bro.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate you, and it's cool just watching you be at just the forefront of of just the lifespan of how long you've been able to take it. So many people get burnt out in this game, so I think it's a huge just a testament to you for continuing to show up and being the same attractive character day in, day out. So again,
Thanks, brother.
kudos to you, man, for just for leading that.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, I feel old sometimes. And then I'm like, man, I started this in like 2009. And then I have a client right now, and I joke you not, he's like my Yoda. He's 73, and he was ripping problem aware YouTube and Instagram reels for me today at the airport. And I was like, there's levels to this game. I'm glad he's a client. I got to step my game up. I need more energy. Like, we ain't ever going away. And so, for everybody listening, I say this on every episode, but like, don't let this become shelf help. This probably either confirmed, shifted, or invited you into something different, but don't let this be the reason you just hear it and do nothing. Like, do something. Maybe it's pick up breakthrough advertising from Eugene Swartz. Maybe it's the greatest salesman. Maybe it's going to school, mattshiver.com/ads, and watching those FAQs, right? Maybe it's actually taking the time to like know your numbers. Do I know my margins? Do I know my COGS? Do I have the ability to do this? Maybe I haven't treated my business like a business. Like, I can think of hundreds of nuggets that Matt dropped that are invitations for all of us. And so my invitation is, whichever one tickled, which means the one that you're mad at me that I just mentioned again, that's the one to pay attention to. And so go explore it, give it some time, give it the credibility that it deserves, because I think in the state of the world that we're in right now, with marketing changing and AI, it's all an opportunity, but you have to be willing to run at it with curiosity. And there's nothing wrong with changing things, being open to new things, or learning new things. And I think that that's the way that we all succeed. So that's my invitation for everybody listening. So that's where we're going to wrap the show. So this has been another episode of the Mind of George show out of the back of a Subaru Outback, testing a Montana nature setup. So in the near future, you will potentially see me on the top of a mountain or sitting in front of a lake. And if we're lucky, we'll get some elk in the background. I'm going to try to avoid the grizzly bears, and we'll figure out which way to bring nature to you. So remember that relationships will always beat algorithms, especially in the middle of your funnel with nurture content, because you can't replace them with AI. And so we'll either see you in the next episode, or you'll hear me in your earballs. But either way, we're out.